Good morning, everyone. Welcome to East Texas Today on KETK Plus. I'm your host, Tristan Van Beem. Thank you all so much for joining me on another edition of the morning show. I really appreciate everyone who is always tuning in. And if it's your first time, this is a show that we do every day from Monday to Thursday at 9 o'clock over here on KTK Plus, just to give you some news from yesterday that might have happened too late for us to get in the show the day before, and also just some developing stories as well. And now that it is around the holiday time, you're going to be hearing a ton of holiday stories, especially revolving around Christmas, and then we'll have a little bit of New Year's once Christmas is over. But as of right now in early December, that is the main topic for the evening. So for the morning, excuse me. It's not the evening yet. And for the first story this morning, an East Texas state representative named Gary Van Dever of New Boston said on Monday that he won't be running for re-election in the Texas House District 1 in 2026. Van Dever's announcement comes less than 2 months after the Republican Party of Texas officially penalized him for making votes and taking action against party platform policies. Let's go ahead and bring up a picture of Gary, why don't we? There he is. All right. KTK News spoke with Van Dever on Monday. He said he's been working up to this announcement for the past couple of months, and those penalties had nothing to do with that. Van Dever said, quote, "This is a decision I've been working on trying to make for at least 2 months, really just a little longer than that. I just believe the time is right. I believe that these representative positions were never intended to make careers and never intended to be full-time jobs. Our forefathers, they set up a system where we serve temporarily, and then we go home and we live under the laws we make. And so at the end of this term, I will have served for 12 years, and I just believe that's really long enough," end quote. Van Dever's last term will end in January 2027, and several candidates have already announced campaigns to replace him as state representative for House District 1. Sean Huffman is running unopposed so far in the Democratic primary, while Josh Bray and Chris Spencer have both announced they're running in the Republican primary. When asked whether he'll endorse a candidate in the race to be his successor, Van Dever said he'll back someone who can stand up for East Texas. Van Dever said, quote, "I'm looking for a candidate who will not bend the knee, who will not allow themselves to give in to other pressures, to outside pressures, whether it be from party or from other elected officials or from big dollar donors. I will look at the candidates and make my endorsement on who I think has strong character, whose word means something. That's the kind of person that I've tried to be as a state representative, and that's the kind of person that I will try to help get elected," end quote. Van Dever looked back at his tenure and said that helping to fund community colleges and rural health care is what he wants to be remembered for. Van Dever said, quote, "We've done some good things. I look back on some of the legislation we've passed. The community college funding bill continues to be something that I hope people will remember for a long time, and that my legacy can be something that this last session will be passed the Rural Health Care Act to try and stabilize rural health care and help prevent rural hospitals from closing. Those kind of things that are not necessarily politically inviting, that the political parties don't necessarily make part of their platform, but it's something important to our district and really to the state of Texas. And so when I look back on my tenure, those are the things I look at." One issue Van Dever was known for was taking a stance against school vouchers. Van Dever said this stance led to an effort to defeat him in his last re-election bid, but that pro-school voucher politicians like Texas Governor Greg Abbott didn't influence his decision to not run again. Van Dever ended his interview with KTK News by thanking the people of House District 1 for electing him to office for the past 12 years. Van Dever said, quote, "To the people of House District 1, I will forever be grateful for the opportunity that they have afforded me over the last 12 years, and it has been of the great honors of my life to serve, and I have memories that I will carry the rest of my life," end quote. His full announcement is available in the article on our homepage at ktk.com. In other election news, Judge Derek Choice announced on Monday that he is running to be reelected as Smith County Precinct 1 Justice of the Peace in 2026. Choice was first elected to the position in 2022 after the resignation of former Judge Quincy Beavers Jr. Choice is running for reelection as a part of the 2026 Democratic primary ahead of the local elections in November. Choice said, quote, "Serving the people of Smith County has been one of the greatest privileges of my life. Over the past term, I have worked diligently to ensure that justice is served with fairness, integrity, and compassion. I remain committed to being a voice for the people, upholding the law while also understanding the needs of the community I proudly call home. With your continued support, I look forward to building on the progress we've made and continuing to serve with dedication, transparency, and respect for all," end quote. Choice has previously served with the area as a Tyler City Councilman and as a member of many organizations, including the Northeast Texas Regional Mobility Authority, the Tyler Metro Chamber of Commerce, the Juneteenth Association of Tyler, the East Texas Minority Health and Wellness Coalition, and more. And if you want to check out the full list of organizations that he has served, go ahead and click on this QR code on your screen. That'll take you right to KETK.com, and you can view that article on our homepage. Alrighty, also, we got some election stories coming up. I know that next year, around February time, is going to be big for local elections in the East Texas area. So make sure that you're getting these details now so that way you are not surprised come voting time in East Texas in February. Let's go ahead and move on to another story. Officials are offering safety tips after a Smith County home was destroyed by a fire. A house was destroyed by an early morning fire in Smith County on Monday, prompting local fire officials to give East Texans tips to prevent house fires. According to Smith County Emergency Services District 2, reports of a fire were received at around 6:53 a.m. on County Road 35 near Farm to Market Road 14. Officials have confirmed that the house was destroyed. There were no reported injuries, and the cause of the fire is still under investigation. With the first major cold front of the season moving in, crews are reminding people to practice home heating safety. Executive Director of American Red Cross East Texas, Karen Holt, said, quote, "We usually see a 20 to 25% increase in home fires during the winter and holiday, and this year alone, the East Texas American Red Cross has responded to roughly 600 disasters, and about 95% of those home fires, and this is our busiest time of the year because of the holiday cooking and then the misuse of heating equipment," end quote. Once again, that is from Karen Holt. Lindale Assistant Fire Chief Clay Williamson has seen many house fires in his 20 years and warned East Texans what to do if using a space heater. Williamson said, quote, "Keep space heaters far from anything combustible like their furniture, curtains, and if they have a live tree. Keep the tree watered and keep it away from open flame sources," end quote. Alrighty, also, you just heard it right there. I know that a lot of people are going to be using their heaters in their homes and other forms of heat. I know personally, I try to turn the heat off whenever I leave my home, but it has just been too cold for me to do that. So I personally have it left on, but I've kept it away from flammable sources. So that is just one way to keep yourself safe during these cold times. Now, I know it's a little weird. Just a few weeks ago, we were in the 60 to 70 degree temperatures, and now all of a sudden, it's 30 degrees outside. So I know that it was about 32, 33 degrees whenever I left at 7 o'clock in the morning. So quite the shift in just a few weeks. But if you want to keep yourself safe and warm this winter, be sure to be on the lookout for those tips that the experts have been providing to us so far. Moving on to our next story of the morning, Panola College has been awarded a grant to develop a framework for a potential construction supervision program that's aimed at addressing East Texas' growing demand for trained first-line supervisors. The $171,000 grant awarded through the True Pathways Design and Planning Grant from the East Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board will support exploration of a new construction supervision pathway. The funding will enable the college to research and develop a potential program framework designed to meet the growing demand for the trained first-line construction supervisors and skilled trade leaders across East Texas. The concept for the pathway emerged from multiple program advisory board discussions. The industry leaders said discussions stressed the need for supervisors who combine strong technical expertise with essential leadership, communication, and safety skills. With the grant, Panola College will analyze how the program could be structured and what could be needed for successful implementation. Panola College President Dr. Jessica Pace said, quote, "This initiative positions Panola College to better meet the needs of our communities and industry partners by expanding opportunity and reducing barriers for learners examining a pathway that includes credit for prior learning, and this allows us to honor real-world experience and support career growth. This grant enables us to lay the groundwork for a program that could significantly benefit our region." Alrighty, y'all. Well, East Texas is swapping fall leaves for twinkling lights as parades across East Texas prepare to hit the streets for the holidays. From lively events in Longview to festive celebrations in Athens, Tyler, Bullard, and beyond, there's a parade near you ready to bring neighbors together for the holiday season. Anderson County, December 6th, Palestine Parade of Lights will be held, and then over in Angelina County, on December 6th, Lufkin Christmas Parade, and in Boney County, December 15th, Texarkana Annual Main Street Christmas Parade will be held. I'm going to list off a few more parades here for you all, but the full list is over on our website, KETK.com, on that article on our homepage if you want to check it out. We got Cherokee County on December 2nd, which is today, and with the Rusk Christmas Parade. And then on December 4th, Jacksonville Christmas Parade. December 11th, the Troop Christmas Parade. And then over in Franklin County on December 6th, we got the Mount Vernon Lighted Christmas Parade. For Gregg County, it'll be on December 3rd for the Kilgore Annual Christmas Parade. And on December 4th, Longview Downtown and Bucks Christmas Parade. And then December 7th with the Liberty City Christmas Parade. December 9th with White Oak Christmas Parade. And then we got a couple in Smith County, including the Lindale Rotary Christmas Parade. And on December 4th, we got the Rose City Christmas Parade and Jerome Show. Once again, for the full list, go ahead and visit KETK.com. You can go ahead and scan that QR code on your screen if you want to check out our homepage to find that article with a list on all those East Texas parades coming up. All right, everyone. Well, it is time to head into the first break of our morning. But when we come back, don't worry, we have some more great stories for you all, and stick around so you can get those. Good morning, East Texas. Thank you so much for joining me on East Texas Today on KETK Plus. I'm your host, Tristan Van Beem, and I just always love doing these morning shows, and I really appreciate you all who come and tune in and watch them every morning. Let's go ahead and jump into the rest of our show. With colder temperatures coming into East Texas, it is important for the community to stay safe while heating their homes, and KETK's Ella Mitchell actually met up with local experts to find out how we can stay warm and stay safe during these colder months. Let's go ahead and see what Ella has to say.
It is one of the busiest times of year for East Texas firefighters, with the first major cold front of the season moving in. Crews are reminding people to practice home heating safety.
We usually see typically a 20 to 25% increase in home fires during the winter and holiday months.
This early morning fire destroyed a house off of FM 14 in Smith County Monday. Although the cause is still unknown, first responders are encouraging people to brush up on their heating safety knowledge as winter fast approaches.
The number one cause of home fires is heating equipment, misuse of heating equipment, faulty heating equipment. Secondary to that is cooking.
Assistant Chief Williamson has seen many house fires in his 20 years. and tells East Texans what to do if using a space heater.
Space heaters are far from anything combustible, like their furniture, curtains. If they have a live tree, keep the tree watered, keep them away from open flame sources.
This includes setting it on rugs or carpet. And always plug your units directly into the wall, not through extension cords. Your heating unit should also be thoroughly cleaned to avoid risk of dust sparking when first turned on. And make sure all smoke and carbon monoxide detectors are working properly.
Working smoke alarms save lives.
We say we change the clocks, change the batteries in your smoke detectors. That way ensure that the battery is fully charged.
And to help out, the American Red Cross of East Texas offers free fire smoke alarm installation and battery change to ensure your family can be alerted and ready if a crisis does happen. Ella Mitchell, KTK News.
Well, thank you so much, Ella, for bringing us that story. It is great to see how people can stay safe this holiday season, especially trying to warm up their homes or just stay warm in general as those fires can happen. So thank you for your coverage on that story. Moving on, the City of Troop is alerting residents of a prominent fundraiser they may have received in the mail, and they are calling it a scam. The fundraisers are sent by an organization known as the United States Deputy Sheriff's Association, or the USDSA, which presents itself as a nonprofit dedicated to supporting local law enforcement and the community. Let's go ahead and bring up this picture right here. In recent mailings, the group requested donations for their Troop Area 2025 fund drive, claiming that they provide police agencies in Troop with bulletproof vests, helmets, and other life-saving equipment. The City of Troop made residents aware on Monday that neither the city nor the Troop Police Department endorse or participate in any fundraising efforts from the USDSA. Further noting that the organization consistently receives bad ratings due to a lack of transparency in their practices. The city recommends all residents to be cautious of any messages or mail from the nonprofit, and even clarified where they source some of their equipment. City officials said, quote, "Troop PD's ballistic vests are purchased through our annual operating budget, and only as replacements become necessary, our commitment is to keep our community informed and to protect citizens from misleading or unclear solicitation practices," end quote. Well, there we have it, y'all, and that actually comes into play with, for those of you who don't know, today is actually Giving Tuesday, so a lot of people are probably going to be giving to nonprofits, so it's important to make sure that you vet whichever organizations you choose, just to make sure that they are, actually legit organizations and you're not being scammed. I know it absolutely stinks to give your hard-earned money or donate to nonprofits that end up being false, but there are a lot of great nonprofits out there in East Texas, so just make sure that you are doing the right practices to confirm their legitimacy. Now, the SPCA, of East Texas is asking the community to help them stay open after a recent downturn in donations. The nonprofit animal shelter told KETK News that they've received about $100,000 less in donations than they expected to this year, and that they may have to close down if they can't make up for all this financial shortfall. SPCA of East Texas Executive Director Emily Hugland said, quote, "Unfortunately, when we're talking about a shortfall like that, it's the animals that really suffer because they have to look at cutting back on services. Tomorrow's Giving Tuesday, December 2nd, and we're asking for the community to step up and help us out with donations if they can. To donate, visit the SPCA of East Texas online. The SPCA is also taking physical donations of supplies like pet food and cat litter in person at 3245 West Grande Boulevard in Tyler." Now, as I mentioned, y'all, it is Giving Tuesday, so the SPCA really seems like they do need our help as part of the community. So if you feel like donating, consider donating to them. I know they do a lot of great things. We always have their animals over here on East Texas living, trying to get them adopted and everything like that. So if you're an animal lover, consider donating to the SPCA of East Texas. And now that food stamps have been restored following the longest U.S. government shutdown in history, new requirements have been issued for those looking to keep their benefits. Here is more on the story for you all.
SNAP benefits are flowing once again following the longest government shutdown, but some food stamp recipients may lose out on those benefits after new requirements went into effect on Monday.
We're probably looking at about a 6 billion meal per year gap that's going to be created.
More people will now have to work, train, or volunteer at least 80 hours per month in order to receive monthly SNAP benefits. Under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which was signed into law by President Trump this summer, the work requirements will apply to anyone between 18 and 64 years old. The previous age limit was 54. Veterans and those experiencing homelessness will now also fall under that mandate.
He asked them to cut $186 billion from SNAP in the One Big Ugly Bill, literally ripping food from the mouths of hungry children, seniors, and veterans. They did it.
According to the Congressional Budget Office projections, the new conditions could lower the average monthly number of recipients by roughly 2.4 million over a decade.
We're reforming SNAP. That program is completely out of control.
The Trump administration is blaming the high cost within the assistance program on fraud and over-reliance on the benefits.
We've studied about $100 billion in spend. We have found thousands and thousands of illegal use of the EBT card.
Recipients who don't meet the new requirement could begin losing their benefits as early as March. In Washington, D.C., I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
Well, you just heard it right there, folks. It looks like people are going to have to be able to do more for their SNAP benefits than they are actually used to doing. I know that for some people, they had to have a certain amount of volunteer hours, but it looks like those requirements are getting a little more steep. So, I'm sure that we'll have an article coming out on this soon, so you can be able to check that out. But this is the information that we have on this so far. And East Texas organizations are gearing up for Giving Tuesday, which annually raises money for nonprofits. You just heard me mention this earlier. Giving Tuesday first started in 2012 and has grown into a worldwide day of giving and celebrating generosity to those in need. The Day of Giving services as a reminder of the power of community support, encouraging East Texas to give back to organizations that rely on generosity to continue their work. Let's go ahead and bring up this image for you all. Nonprofit organizations across the region are sharing ways people can get involved and make an impact to those in need. Hope Haven of East Texas highlighted its foster care program and encouraged supporters to learn more or donate through its website. United Way of Smith County is a large East Texas nonprofit that actively supports 280 other nonprofit organizations across Smith County. And as we just mentioned, the SPCA of East Texas invited the public to contribute to its mission of caring for animals in need by offering several ways to help from their website. The East Texas Food Bank said it will match all donations up to $100,000 for nonprofits throughout Smith County. Now I'm going to go ahead and mention a few other nonprofits over here in the East Texas area, but the full list is once again available on our website at KETK.com. Here's a couple more. PAVE of East Texas announced it will match every donation at 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. and 4 p.m., contributing up to $25,000 in matching funds per hour. The Heart Gallery of East Texas announced they have up to $100,000 in matching donations. And then once again, that full list of organizations is on our website at KETK.com. Alrighty, y'all. So it is time to go ahead and jump into another break. But when we come back, I'm going to see if I can grab our meteorologist and he can kind of break down all this cold weather that I'm not really a big fan of and see if he can explain it to us for the rest of our day and also heading into the rest of our week. But stick around, that will be on after the break. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to East Texas Today on KTK Plus. I'm your host, Tristan Van Beem, and thank you all so much for tuning in. Now, as I mentioned before the break, I was going to see if I could grab our meteorologist to get us caught up on this colder weather that we're seeing, but he's not available right now, so we'll check back in later in the show and see if we can get him to come in here and just kind of go over the weather and what we should expect going into the rest of our day and then also just in the rest of the week. But for now, for those of you who don't know, today is Giving Tuesday, which I've mentioned a couple times. So if you're just tuning in, Giving Tuesday is a time for East Texans to donate towards various nonprofits that are trying to support the community. And yesterday, I actually had the opportunity to sit down with a representative of one of these organizations, which is named For Kids, For Families, which is gathering Christmas gifts for Christmas gifts for and other essentials for youth and the foster care system and their families as well. So these are kids who have just had to go in the foster care system and they might not have the security of having Christmas gifts or the essentials they need in this colder temperature, such as jackets or warm socks and things like that. So this nonprofit is looking to raise money in order to help those children and their families as well. I was actually able to do about a 14-minute interview with one of the representatives, and I'm going to go ahead and play the full interview for you all right now. Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching KTK Plus. I'm your host, Tristan Van Beem, and for today, I want to talk to you all about a local organization named For Kids, For Families, which provides child welfare for vulnerable children and their families. Joining me today is Belen Casillas with For Kids, For Families, who is here to give us more details about the organization and their initiative called Giving Tuesday that looks to raise money to support children and families in East Texas. Belen, how are you doing today?
Hey, Tristan, thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited that we get to talk about this for Giving Tuesday, specifically because Christmas is right around the corner.
Of course, Belen. Thank you so much for joining me, and it's great to have you here. And I can't wait to listen to all the great information that you're going to provide to East Texans on how they can support your cause.
Yeah, super excited to let the community know about a great need that we have here in East Texas, specifically in Smith County and surrounding counties.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get right into it. And can you start this interview off by explaining what For Kids, For Families is and what the goal of this organization is?
Yeah, so For Kids, For Families took over Child Protective Services from the point after removal. So we have taken over all of the foster care case management for Region 4, which is the entire East Texas, 23 counties total, including Smith County. And so we have taken over since May of 2024. And we are super, super excited to be able to continue the great work that the state had been doing. And we know that there is more work to be done. We've been tasked with two things: bringing in the community to support our children in foster care and our biological families. And also, we have been tasked with wrapping around them and servicing our youth, specifically Christmas time.
Well, that's just amazing. It's great to see that there's East Texas organizations helping out children and families out there alike. And I just want to ask, what specific support do you guys provide for these children and families? I know earlier you mentioned it's kind of similar to CPS. Could you go into detail about that?
Yeah, so we offer the foster care case management side. So after a child is removed from their biological family, we take on the case and they are assigned not a CPS worker, but a For Kids, For Families caseworker. We also oversee their entire journey in the foster care, and we oversee their reunification if they're going back with their biological parent, or their adoption. We also oversee that. If they are not adopted or reunified with their biological family, they will be aging out of foster care, and we oversee that as well. And so that entire experience of a youth in foster care is so important to us. For Kids, For Families is a local nonprofit organization, and we have been tasked by the state as the single source continuum contractor to take on these services. And so we also oversee kinship placements, which are those grandparents, aunts, and uncles doing that great work of taking on their possibly grandchildren or nieces and nephews. And a lot of the times we hear that Christmas isn't covered for them. And so we are looking to cover 800 plus kids that need Christmas gifts. And we have had an amazing pour in from our community, but we're in need of last minute items for about 150 list. And I have an Amazon wish list that I could share with you guys as well.
Wow, that is just amazing. That is so many kids that you guys are supporting. So it's great to hear that. And I know that East Texas is a large area, and you did mention you did mention a couple areas earlier in the East Texas. So for those looking to see, hey, is this available where I'm at? Is there a website they can go on to that list out the counties or cities where they can get this kind of service?
Yeah, absolutely. So 4kids4families.org
Hmm.
/Christmas is where to visit us if you are wanting to give back this Tuesday
Hmm.
and you're not sure where. So what's going to happen is when you donate through the Amazon, it's going to go to a child in East Texas. Unfortunately, we're
Hmm.
not able to tell you the name of the child or the location of that child,
That's fair.
but you will know that you are impacting an East Texas child who has entered the foster care system and is going to be receiving Christmas because of you. And so that is super important for our communities to know that we have had support from CASAS. We have had support from lots of child welfare boards. We've had support from many, many organizations, but we still need a few more things specifically for youth that are removed during this Christmas time and that they were not on anyone's radar. And now they are with a grandpa, grandma, or a foster family, and they need some Christmas gifts to make Christmas really special. So that Amazon list is on our
Hmm.
4kids4families.org /Christmas website, and you'll also see that there's a blanket donation. If anybody just would like to donate for our whole entire year, we have many needs that our youth have. And so if anybody wants to just donate in general, we also have that link on that website.
Okay, and then I realized that Four Kids, Four Families is a year-round organization. So what is Giving Tuesday? Is that far as more just about Christmas and the gifts these kids received? And for these gifts, are they items like toys? Are they clothes? What are these children going to be getting?
Yeah, so the Amazon wish list that we've created specifically for Christmas is going to be toys. Exactly what you said,
Mm.
Tristan. It's going to be toys. There's going to be books of all different ages. We have youth that are from 0 all the way to 17, almost turning 18. And so they vary. And what happens is once you purchase that, it's delivered to our Amazon facility. Then it's delivered to an office, a Four Kids, Four Families office. It is packaged specifically for a child. The caseworker collects that gift from our office and then delivers to where the family is at. And so we do package them. We do not wrap them because we know that the families might want to wrap them themselves. So we do not wrap them, but we do have them in a bag. And so they get delivered right before Christmas for families to give to the youth in foster care. And then so Giving Tuesday really at this time is for Christmas, but anyone could give for the general year. We do have college trips that our youth in foster care who are ages 16 and above take, and that takes some additional funds. We have youth prom, we have youth graduation. There's a lot of other events, and so just the general link that we have to donate would also be impacting our youth directly in that. So thanks so much for that's a great question.
Yeah, of course. And I love to hear that you guys actually have something for those older kids who are looking to, go into college and do things like that as well. And speaking of the impact that this has on the people involved in it, especially around Christmas time and New Year's just around the corner, I know that these kids and these families are in very vulnerable stages of their life right now. So how impactful are these donations and services on the people that need them? And with your experience, what have you seen on how
Yeah,
these impact those who need it?
Tristan, it was our first year last year to take on Christmas
Mhm.
as acting as a contractor of the state. And so what we did here, we heard a lot of things. We heard a lot of families through our caseworkers that said, wow, I would not have been able to afford Christmas. It was Christmas or my bill, my cell phone bill. It was Christmas or a specific bill. And because of that, I am now able to pay my bill and give Christmas to my two grandbabies. And so we've heard similar stories. And so this is our second year to do Christmas for the youth that we service. And so we know that those stories will continue on. And all thanks to our community, we have been able to impact families in a positive way and have them feel loved, specifically during Christmas. When they're going back to school in January and they're hearing from all their classmates, the newest gadgets they got. Well, they might not have gotten that if it wasn't for our communities and the donors that give to Christmas for Kids. So it is super important for our communities to know that there is a need out there. There's tons of families that cannot afford Christmas gifts. And so we are trying to make that possible with the help of our community.
Wow, that is amazing. And I feel like people need that kind of now more than ever, just especially with a lot of people in East Texas struggling with, financials or something like that. And it's just great to have this organization over in the East Texas area. I just got to say, the work you guys are doing is very, very kind, and I'm sure the community really appreciates it. And I just want to ask, how much money or items are you guys trying to raise? What is the goal with with this fundraiser?
Yes. So we are trying to provide Christmas for 150 youth.
Mhm.
The rest, the 800 plus that I mentioned, they're already the majority of that number already covered by different CASAs and child welfare boards
Okay.
and other nonprofit organizations. But we have about 150 youth who have not been sponsored. We also had churches and
Mhm.
dealerships. And so we're super grateful for them, but we still have 150 youth. We're trying to spend about $100 to $150 per youth. I know that seems a lot, but if you go shopping today, Tristan, to
Mhm.
go buy a Christmas present, two Christmas presents, through Christmas presents, and you're at $150.
Yeah.
We're also including clothing in there. We know the winter's coming. It's going to be a cold winter. And so we're including jackets, some essentials, tennis shoes for the season. And so would love to have 150 youth be sponsored through the Amazon wish list or the general donation link. And so that would just cover their needs.
I love how you mentioned if I go out and shop and donate personally, because if you're anything like me watching at home, you procrastinate on your Christmas shopping just like I do. So that could actually be great. While I'm out shopping for my family, I can go ahead and pick up a toy, pick up a extra sweater or something, and just donate to 4 kids, 4 families. That sounds like a great idea, Balloon.
Yeah, it does. So those physical items that anyone could donate would be coming to one of our offices. So we have one in Tyler, we have one in Athens, we have
Mhm.
an office in Longview, in Texarkana, and in Paris. And so we have different locations that anyone could come and donate. We'd prefer the Amazon
Mhm.
list just because they would be arriving here a lot quicker, and we could see and track what's being already purchased and count on that. But the deadline is coming pretty quickly. We are hoping to get all of this rolling in the next 2 weeks so we can make sure we deliver a week before Christmas, and our caseworkers can go out to our entire East Texas counties and make that magical wish come true for a lot of kiddos. Our caseworkers have been collecting those wish lists, so again, that magical moment would be just perfect for them.
So that's the main goal here, is within the next 2, 3 weeks, just preferably right before Christmas time, so that we guys can get everything organized and everything like that. Because I'm sure there's a lot of donations and a lot of moving parts right before the deadline. So is that kind of
That's
the goal?
exactly right,
Okay.
Tristan. So in the early fall, our caseworkers visited every single kiddo
Mhm.
and they filled out a wish list. So
That's
three wants,
awesome.
3 needs, and we get to look at that and we get to put it in a data system,
Mhm.
and every kiddo has exactly what they're wanting, and we try to fulfill at least 2 to 3 items, and then the rest are kind of some items that we believe that they need,
Mhm.
maybe some educational toys and other things, but
Okay.
at least two to three things from their wish list is what we're hoping that they will receive.
That's amazing. So they get at least one gift where they really needed that. Like, let's say it's a nice warm pair of socks or a nice jacket, but they also get something that they wanted, like a nice toy car or something that they saw in a commercial. So that's amazing that you guys are kind of hitting on both fronts on that end.
Yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes grandma knows best,
That's very
right?
true.
Right. So you might just love Bluey and need a stuffy,
Mhm.
Bluey stuffy. Um, but you really do need a jacket as well. So grandma helps, and the caregivers and the foster parents help fill out that form as well.
Okay. Now, I think you mentioned this earlier, but as far as anyone who wants to help fulfill those wish lists or just donate straight cash or anything like that, where can they go again to make those donations?
So forkidsforfamilies.org, we have two websites. So forkidsforfamilies.org/Christmas or forkidsforfamilies.org/donate.
Alrighty, Blend. And then is there anything else you would like to say to the viewers watching at home before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I know that our communities are always asked to donate, right? We're always asked to donate and donate for different causes that are really, really important. But foster care for us is one of the ones that are the top list of a good cause to donate. As the contractor for the state, you will know that your donation will fall in good hands and will go straight to a kiddo that really would love to see some Christmas gifts under the tree.
Alrighty, well, thank you so much, Belinda, for telling us about 4 Kids, 4 Families, and for trying to spread some holiday cheer this coming Christmas. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Tristan.
All right, well, that was Belinda with 4 Kids, 4 Families, and she talked all about that nonprofit. If you want to watch the full interview again, you can go to our YouTube page at KTK, and then you just go over to the playlist section, click on KTK Plus Originals, and it'll be one of the most recent videos on there today if you want to go ahead and play that back and just learn more about the nonprofit. Also, a reminder, today is Giving Tuesday, so yeah, there's a lot of East Texas nonprofits that still need a lot of donations and a lot of help to help their fellow people in the community that may need just an extra hand and just a little bit of a step in their life. And so, as you can see, 4 Kids, 4 Families is helping those who are in the foster care system really feel like they can have a great holiday and just receive those great Christmas gifts that, most children enjoy getting. I'm going to go ahead and send us into another break, but when we come back, don't worry, I have a few more stories for you all for on East Texas Today on KTK Plus, so stick with me. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to East Texas Today on KTK Plus. I'm your host, Tristan Van Beem, and for those of you who are just now joining me or might have missed some of the show, we just watched a full interview with a representative from the local nonprofit 4 Kids, 4 Families right here in East Texas, and she went over just what the nonprofit is about, what they're trying to raise money, why they're trying to raise money, and what they will do with the money for the children who need it most. 4 Kids, 4 Families is a nonprofit that helps benefit the children in the foster care system along with their families, as well as helping provide some resources for them. If you want to check that out, you can go ahead and go to our YouTube page, KETK, go to the playlist section, click on KTK Plus Originals, and it'll be one of the most recent videos in there. Let's go ahead and move on to the last couple of stories in our show. The city of Tyler honored the legacy of Rosa Parks on Monday by placing special reserved seats on all of the transit buses. Let's go ahead and bring this up right here. On December 1st, 1955, Rosa Parks ignited the Montgomery bus boycott, paving the way for the civil rights movement and helping push forward the desegregation of public transportation. According to Russ Jackson, a Tyler Transit manager, the city of Tyler has been commemorating this moment in history since around 2012. A quote from Jackson says, "We set it up as a Remembrance Day to honor her and what she did standing up for equal rights." He added that the reserved seating makes a greater impact than a simple social media post. He said in another quote, "We could just do a news blast, but we do it this way so that everybody sees it and remembers," Jackson said. Tyler Transit operates about 15 to 20 buses throughout the day, Jackson noted that the blocked off seats do not interfere with regular operations. Wow, I honestly forgot that happened in 1955, so it is just amazing how, the area is celebrating it all of these years later. And December is one of the most joyful times of the year for some people, but For others, holiday pressures and other stress factors can hinder their mental health around this time of year. Let's find out more about the effects that the holiday season can have on mental health.
The holiday season is supposed to be a time of joy, but for many, it's a time of stress, anxiety, and isolation. Financial pressures, family dynamics, and even loneliness are just some of the factors that can affect our mental well-being this time of year. According to the American Psychological Association, 41% of people report increased stress during the holiday season. And therapists say financial strain, family pressures, and the short days of winter contribute to the spike in anxiety and depression.
We all know that the holidays are not cheap. You got to buy gifts, and the more people you know and are close with, the more gifts you got to buy. There's traveling and hosting events.
Holiday stress can lead to a host of mental health challenges, from increased anxiety and depression to issues with substance abuse or strained relationships. The National Institute of Mental Health reports that depression rates rise during this time, especially for those already dealing with mental health issues.
Grief, loss, joy, sadness. I mean, it can really be a lot of mixed feelings, loneliness, recognizing what you're feeling, what do you need, and being okay with that.
And experts say in order to decrease that stress, addressing the issue must come first.
We have to recognize that and raise your hand and say, hey, I need help, because there is help out there.
If you're feeling overwhelmed, there are steps you can take. Set realistic expectations. Don't pressure yourself to have the perfect holiday. Reach out for support. Speak to a therapist, counselor, or trusted friend. Prioritize self-care. Take breaks, exercise, and rest. Help others. Volunteering can bring a sense of purpose and reduce stress. Taking care of your mental health during the holidays is just as important as anything else. By recognizing the signs of stress, seeking help, and supporting each other, we can all have a happier and healthier holiday season.
Well, there you have it. There are some tips to help better your mental health throughout the holidays. I know that can be a very stressful time for people out there, especially as with mentioned, all the traveling, the paying for stuff, trying to make everything just seem perfect. It can really take a toll on your mental health, especially for those who host parties or host Christmas at their homes and everything like that. So definitely don't put that on the back burner, and just make sure that you are keeping yourself healthy, both physically and mentally, this holiday season. And everyone, it is time to send it into our last break of the show. But when I come back, I'll go ahead and send off an outro for you all, but stick around and wait till the end. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for watching East Texas Today on KETK+. I'm your host, Tristan Van Beem, and thank you all so much for tuning in on another edition of our morning show here. I really appreciate everyone who tunes in all the time, and it looks like I'm out of stories for the morning. So, yeah, I just want to say thank you all for tuning in, and be sure to, if you want to catch some more news, tune into all these times right here on your screen on both KETK and Fox 51 if you want to get more of your news throughout the day. And then we also have some later night shows with Tyler Henderson and Casey Koviak and Isaac Ramirez. And then if you want to read more about our stories that I covered today and about more stories that will be coming out later in the day, feel free to scan that QR code on your screen. That'll bring you to a lot of the topics that I covered and these stories as well. Once again, everyone, these interviews that I show on the morning show are most of the time available on our YouTube page, KETK+. Once again, if you just go over to the playlist area on KETK, go to the playlist, go on to KETK+ Originals. I have most of the interviews I do on there. Sometimes I post the recordings of these morning shows on there. So if you want to go check that out, make sure to subscribe and just turn those notifications on so that way you can get the latest updates whenever they are posted, including those interviews as well. Once again, I'm Tristan Van Beem. Thank you all for tuning in to East Texas Today. I will see you all next time.